Hello everyone, I'm Mike Doretto, head dating and relationship coach for Infinite Man. Today we're talking about a concept that can help you with setting up your dates, making sure you're not wasting anybody's time, including your own, and cutting down on the likelihood that she might flake out or not show up for the date at all. But before we get to that, I want to know something. How many of these dating videos have you been watching lately? And more importantly, how much of the advice are you actually putting into practice? Deep down, I think we all realize that knowing how to do something and not doing it is pretty much the same as not knowing it in the first place. So if you're watching these videos and not taking the action that we describe in them, you're completely wasting your time. So what's stopping you? Well, if you're like most of the people that watch our stuff, it's fear, social fear, a lack of social freedom, feeling that feeling of pressure on your chest or in your belly that's literally stopping you from taking a step towards the person you want to meet. Or the anxiety of overthinking the situation in your head so you don't even open your mouth at all. What if they judge you, reject you, make you feel embarrassed? This, of course, means you can't be your authentic self with another person. And if you can't express yourself authentically, then you can't connect deeply, you can't have meaningful relationships with anyone. The people that sign up to work with us are people that have decided they are done with that nonsense. They're done feeling frustrated and limited. They're done feeling discouraged from being who they truly are. We have multiple programs that are built specifically to increase your level of social freedom and get you into a daily habit of facing those fears so that life doesn't seem so scary and then you can take more of the actions that you really want to take. Get out of your own way. So if you're ready for a change, click the links in the description for more information or visit our website at infinitemansummit.com and we'll be happy to help you out.
So seeding the date, tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay, so seeding the date is simply telling her what you want to do with her. Because most people don't do that. They're like, oh, let me get your number, and then that's it. And then they fuck off, right? But while you've got her there, there's no better time for you to start discussing, well, like, what is it that you want to do? Your first dates, your first interactions with people should always be cheap, easy, fun, not too far from one another, right? So let's meet for froyo, let's meet at happy hour, let's go for a walk, let's come back here to play volleyball, let's, all that kind of stuff. And because the other thing is, like, let's say you're doing a cold approach. If you're doing a cold approach for romantic interest, you're going to approach her, pause, pre-frame, compliment, question, emotional connect, then you start seeding the date. Wow, I'm really having fun talking to you about this stuff. We should go on a date sometime so we can get to know each other better. Do you like froyo? Do you like walks in the park? Do you like whatever, right? And as you're doing this, as you're having this discussion, if she's not that into you, most of the time, you'll start to see it on her face. Yeah, I like froyo, sure. And that's when you go, hey, what is that? I'm a grown-ass man, I can take rejection. You don't look very comfortable about that right now. Let's not waste each other's time. If you're not interested in that, just tell me. It's not gonna be a problem, right? And usually if you do something like that, the girls will say, oh yeah, no, yeah, I don't think we should go on a date, right? Or they'll say something like, no, I just really don't like froyo is all. And okay, well, let's do something else, right? So now it's not vague. Before you see the date, it's still vague. It's not real life. It's like fake life, fantasy life, right? Oh, the idea, the concept of a date with this guy sounds fun and flirty, so I'll say yes now in the moment. And then days later, reality catches up to her and she's like, oh, I'm actually not that interested, or maybe I'm a little self-conscious, or blah, 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 blah. So when you say, this is exactly what I plan for us to do, are you down for that? It forces her to think about it and think about it more concretely and more realistically. Now, this isn't like guaranteed, like it's not guaranteed that that if you do this, you will always avoid flakes and always get the truth out of women. That's not a guarantee, but it definitely helps. I mean, and this has certainly helped me a bunch of times, especially like if you're doing a quick approach. If you don't have time to do the whole emotional connection thing and everything like that, or you're just trying to be smooth, because remember, the smoother you are, like the less effort you're putting in, but you run the risk of not having proper connection. So if you see you're on the way out, she's on the way in, you're like, whoa, I have to stop you. You're so gorgeous. Quick, let me get your number and I'll hit you up later. And she goes, okay, yeah, you seem nice. Here's my number. You go real quick. First date idea. froyo or something like that, right? Wait a minute, should I really take your number? Say to
Yeah.
It's funny, I just had a conversation with this German woman who was interviewing me about toxic masculinity. And she was like, what should a man do? What shouldn't a man do? And I was like, oh, I don't really think like that. I think of it, but I catch myself saying like, okay, it's your job as a man to do this. Now, I say that because we're all guys, and this is a traditional view, but I really think that it's a traditional view that is valid amongst multiple cultures and of quite a lot. Like, I believe this is a true stereotype. And that stereotype is that it is the man's job to come up with the plan. The initial plan doesn't have to be the only plan. And of course, you should be discussing it after you make the plan. But in my opinion, it is the pursuers. You were the pursuer. You approached her. If she approached you, it'd be different. So right there, it's not necessarily a masculine or a feminine. It doesn't have to be a masculine or a feminine thing. But you were the pursuer. You got to come up with the initial plan. Then when you get back to her, you say, okay, you're going to let me know when your schedule works, but here's what we're going to do. So whatever night that you're free, we're going to meet up here, we're going to have tea, and it's going to be a good old time, right? So that's the seeding the date thing. So now she's got something to feel excited about. And if she doesn't like that idea, she can tell you, oh, no, how about we do something else? And now you're solidifying what the date is, and all you're basically just waiting for is the specific time.